Paper Fight YouTube channel. Today I decided to practice my skills at reading the Archon card. So as you know, you get 2 minutes before a match in a tournament, as well as if you are playing a sealed event and it's your own deck, you also only have 2 minutes to study in, kind of get a game plan. So I feel like this is something that people should not overlook and take the time to practice it. So I thought, why not practice it here, and afterwards, then we can go over the deck and what my personal thoughts are on how good it can be. All right, so we have some Call of the Archons. Let's unbox that here. All right, so I got these from my local game store. They had just got in a shipment of KeyForge deck display, which they had not had since I got into the game. And so I bought a few decks because I want to support them. They're really awesome to me and they have a great community there. So I thought, why not? Let's support. All right, so we got here a Mars Untamed Logos deck. And it's Owe the Green Subdome Saucerite. Very interesting name. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here we have the deck list. Now, just to go in my thoughts, so right off the top, we got 2 Libraries of Babel, Anomaly Exploiter, The Howling Pit, Doc Buckerton, Dr. Escoterra, Ganymede Archivist, Mother, Novu Archaeologist, Rocket Boots, and Transportation Sandals. Next up is the Mars 2 Phosphorus Stars, A Soft Landing, Squawker, Crystal Hive, Chuff Ape, John Smith, Mind Warper, Tunk, Ulick Megamouth, Yixel Bolter, and Zizix the Many. And then on the Untamed side, there's 3 Full Moons, 2 Lost in the Woods, a Nocturnal Maneuver, Regrowth, Ancient Bear, Dew Fairy, Dust Pixie, Marmook, and a Hunting Witch. All right, so my thoughts here are, right away looking at the logos, there is a very strong showing of logos creatures here. I mean, 2 mothers is never a bad thing. 2, 4, so six logos creatures. The actions are not amazing from the logo side. Normally you kind of expect to get a little bit more. Rocket Boots are always great. Transportation Sandals. So I feel like the mothers alone, though, could be quite strong, especially as a support. Now for the Mars, 2 Phosphorus Stars, not bad. Soft Landing and Squawk are always good. Crystal Hive, Chuff Ape. I'm actually not familiar with that card, so that's going to be awesome to get to see. And then there's the John Smith, which is always great. Mind Warper, Tunk, Ulick Megamouth, Ixo Bolter, and Zizix the Many. So I mean, there's 7 creatures there just in the Mars. So John Smith, and I can already see a couple things that John Smith will pair nicely with. Excited to see what the Chuff Ape does, because I really don't know. And then you have the Untamed side. 2, 4, 5 creatures only with 3 Full Moons. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But I mean, those cards, I have another deck that has a bunch of Full Moons, and I feel like you would like to utilize them more, but at the end of the day, if you're getting a bunch, you can just kind of burn them all once and just make the most of that turn's Ember. So that can be really good. So I feel like this deck could do quite well. I see a lot of ways that you can get stuff going, but I feel like board presence is going to be a big thing in this. I feel like Mars is probably the main house here. With a burst from Untamed, and you're getting your support from logos. And the logos, I feel like it's going to be sort of the going to be coming in with more like the mother. It's like a passive support, not really right in your face, and you're making it happen, but you can still utilize that to your advantage. The regrowth is great because with the only 5 creatures that can help. Be nice if there was a phase shift with all these Full Moons. But yeah, so I see this being pretty good. And I mean, you have a Hunting Witch with a Full Moon, so there's just like extra ways there to make that work. But I mean, and with the fairy, and the Pixie. All these things can kind of help contribute, and there's nothing wrong with a Mermook to slow things down a little bit for your opponent in forging. Then you got a couple Lost in the Woods, which will help with the removal side of things, because I mean, that's definitely a big issue here, is the removal is none too great. So I think this is decent. I don't think this is amazing, but I think this is a decent deck, and you just got to figure the balance between getting your Mars out and protected. So let's crack this and see how it looks on the card side. So I'm not going to do every card in here. I think I'm just going to do some of the cards that I think are pretty handy and useful, and some that I haven't seen before. I've only been playing this game for like a month, so there are things that I have not seen. So here's Owe the Green Subdome Saucerite. I apologize if the audio is kind of going a little in and out sometimes. I'm getting used to my new recording setup for this and filming and seeing everything. So of course you have the Hunting Witch. Great card. Everyone loves the Hunting Witch. Always puts in work. Always a target though. Mermook, of course. Dust Pixie. Dew Fairies. Ancient Bear, that's pretty good. Did I count the creatures wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there is 5. Plus a regrowth, potentially for 6. Nocturnal Maneuvers, that's a good form of removal, and you're getting the Ember. Lost in the Woods, there's 2 of those, which is always great. And I mean, I suppose that could work to your advantage if you want to shuffle some of your own creatures in. Like maybe they have play abilities, or if they're, you haven't hit your full moons yet, speaking of which, that way you can kind of get more use out of them later. So yeah, there's the other 2, so there's 3 full moons. Yeah, so I could see that there's some pretty decent Ember generation here, just from the pips. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get 6 just from the cards themselves. So that's good, not to mention the full moon on the creatures and whatnot. So I mean, potentially if you got out your Dust Pixie and then you had Hunting Witch and 2 full moons, if you could somehow pull that off, that feels pretty good. I mean, you're going to be getting 1 from the Hunting Witch, 2 from the Pixie, and then another 2. So that's literally just 5 right there. So that feels pretty good. Now moving on to the Mars, Zizix the Many. This is pretty good. I feel like this is going to be quite powerful, especially since I do have quite a bit. Like the creature count isn't low in this deck, so that could be really great. And I love the fact that you can archive it, because I mean, I could literally start archiving my Untamed creatures to get to the point where I can have an awesome burst turn with that, and just get that Ember from the full moons and the Hunting Witch and go through that cycle, which is really cool. So yeah, this I think is going to be really powerful. Definitely a star of the deck. And then you have the Yixo Bolter. Fight Reap, deal 2 damage to a creature. If it destroys that creature, purge it. Really good. Nothing wrong with a little bit of removal since it's kind of light. And then you got the Fight Reap of the Mega Mouth, which uses a friendly non-Mars creature. So that's good. That could definitely be handy. I mean, there are some Logos cards in here that definitely, I don't want to be calling Logos every turn, but they have a great ability that could be used to help set up the future. Such as the Archivist, I believe, archives a card if I'm not mistaken, or draws a card. I believe it's the Archive. So that can help again get my Untamed out of my hand to set up that burst turn, and the Mega Mouth can help do that. Then you have Tunk, a nice big body on the field, and I mean, I got enough Mars creatures that I'm healing it a lot, which is really good. And then there's the Mind Warper. So elusive, 2 power, and not great, but still good, because with the action I can have an enemy creature capture 1 from its own side. And I mean, with things like having the Bolter deal 2 damage, I can easily set that up, so I'm reaping with that. Or using the action, capturing, then reaping with the Bolter, and then destroying and getting that myself. So it's like basically really good little combo action there. So I like that. And then there's John Smith. John Smith, I mean, who doesn't love John Smith? That dude just puts in work. Fight and reap ready, a non-agent Mars creature. And I mean, you've seen already all the Mars that's available there. They are all non-agents, from the Bolter to the Megamouth to the Mind Warper to Zizix the Many, which I think would probably be the main target. Again, I want to get those Untamed cards out of my hand and save it for a great burst turn, and that's a good way to do it. Okay, here we are. Now here's the Chuff Ape. 11 power. It enters play stunned and has taunt. So great way to protect my John Smith and some of the other things. You fight or reap. You may sacrifice another friendly creature if you do fully heal Chuff Ape. Wow, I've never seen this card before, and I definitely think this is going to be a key component to keeping my Mars in check here and being able to do a lot of great things for a long time. Because I mean, even entering play stunned with the taunt factor, like that is the main thing. So I can set that up in a really nasty way to just protect my John Smith, protect the Mind Warper, or even Zizix, which would be really gross, because if I can get Zizix huge and continue that archiving factor, I can just see this just really getting myself set up for some powerful turns. So that's pretty cool. And of course the John Smith. Then there's the Crystal Hive. For the remainder of your turn, gain 1 Ember for each time a creature reaps. So yeah, I mean, whoops, the amount of stuff I have that reap and have a benefit and I can reap again, that's going to be really good. Like this is going to 100%, like there's no question Mars is the heavy hitter in this deck. And then you have the Squawkers to help you get your Mars creatures out and working faster. I mean, ready a non-Mars creature, you could get your Chuff Ape going right away. Soft Landing, again, another way for you to start getting your stuff going faster. I love that. And then there's the Phosphorus Star. Stun each non-Mars creature, gain 2 chains. So I mean, if I just want to keep reaping and their board feels like out of hand, I'm not playing a Mars deck. There's 2 of these. Like I don't mind doing the 4 chains potentially if I have to over like a few turns, because just setting myself up to protect and go through those different reap and re-reap sort of things with the John Smith potential, just having that ability, I feel like is going to be really powerful. So keeping them stunned and not worrying about their board and just getting my agenda in play, that's great. Because I mean, if I back-to-back stun each non-Mars creature and they're literally removing their stun, the next turn I'm stunning them again, they literally can't do anything. And I can just go 2 turns with the potential to forge a key, provided they don't have bait and switch or, you know, any other shenanigans that would stop that. But still, the potential to have that happen is worthwhile investigating. So I'm not mad at these. All right, next is into the logo side. Transportation Sandals. This is my first time seeing these. This creature gains action. Swap this creature with another friendly creature in the battle line. You may use that other creature this turn. So that's pretty cool. So a great way to, if I have logos doing some shenanigans or getting a little bit of support from them, this is another thing that I can use this to get one of my other creatures utilizing something that maybe I want to set some other things up, because like I have those Untamed setups, I have Mars, so this is a great card I think to help support. Next up are Rocket Boots. I love this one. I mean, that's clearly going on a Mars creature right there. If this is the first time the creature was used this turn, ready it. John Smith, like all day. Like I don't even see why anything else would be used. Just John Smith, boom, boom, back-to-back John Smiths, getting 2 Ember, and then on top of that, you're getting to utilize other things. Like this is just going to be ridiculous. So Rocket Boots is going to be amazing on my Mars stuff. Okay, I'm getting really excited about this deck now. Novu Archaeologist. Archive a card from your discard pile. Okay, that's what it is. I mean, regross if I have to play some Untamed creatures early and want to get them set up for a full moon, or if I need to just burn a full moon early because it's taking up space in my hand. I don't need to worry about that because I can use this to get it into my archive and then again set up that great Untamed term. That's what I think is going to be pretty good about this. Then there's the Dos Mothers. 2 additional cards, or consistency of making my ability to draw an additional card happen sooner. Love it. Then we have the Ganymede Archivist. He was the one who reaps and archives a card. So yeah, I mean, between the Archivist and the Archaeologist, those two things are going to be just so good for getting my hand the way I want, and not being afraid to burn what's in my hand and just get rid of it because it doesn't serve a purpose at that time or have a minimal effect, because then in the future that can be used to get what I need done. That's going to be followed up with the Dr. Escotera. I really like this card. I mean, logos, I'm not going to be looking to hit that up like right off the get-go. So this is something that can either be archived for later if necessary, depending on how the game goes, or at the very least, I can just use it to gain an Ember and have a 4-body on the board. I mean, I'm not really mad at that. And of course, the Doc Bookton, getting to draw a card, being able to utilize a friendly non-Mars creature. I mean, those between the Archivist and Doc Bookton, those are just great choices. Oh, and notice something really cool. This bot here that Doc Bookton is fixing is actually, I believe, a new creature that's coming in the next set. With Natalie, I believe it's Natalie Russo. I may say the last name wrong on Instagram. She does just the most phenomenal art, and she created that bot. Helper bot is what it's called. Howling Pit. During their draw steps, each player refills their hand to additional 1 card. Wow. So with 2 mothers, that's an additional 3 cards each turn, going through the deck faster. That's impressive, and you get the Ember Pip for that. 2 Library of Babbles. More drawing card ability. And Anomaly Exploiter. Destroy a damaged creature. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, set that up and just wait. So I could see an early logos turn happening as a little bit of a setup, especially with the mothers and these artifacts, and then literally just chilling out and waiting to have it as a support when something else happens down the line that requires more of a need to get the cards I need to win. All right, so after going through all of these, I gotta say that this is pretty saucy. So on my initial thoughts of the deck, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. Granted, there was a couple key cards that I couldn't recognize right off the top of just seeing the name. One I'd never seen before, the Chuff Ape. But going through this, like, I feel this is a really solid deck, and I'd be super excited to pilot it. In fact, I'm going to play some casual tonight at a game store that I go to every Monday night, and I'm definitely probably going to bring this out and see how it goes, because I'm very excited with the way this runs. I have another deck that has 4 full moons with a lot of logo support, and I just don't see how to make it work. This feels like an upgraded version of that with 1 less full moon, so I'm super excited. I hope everyone is enjoying these videos. Again, I'm pretty new to this game, but I'm feeling really good about how I'm going about it and my play style, and the success I've so far had with a sealed and a constructed one. Well, I guess constructed, it's not the right one, but an Archon chainbound event. So yeah, I'm really loving this game, and as I learn more and my experience and growth as a new player, only been playing less than a month, I just want to share that with you and my interpretation of things. So this was kind of like a sealed and a deck analysis. I got to get better at knowing all the cards, so I'm trying to study those. But I mean, I'm really enjoying Mars. It's definitely not my favorite house, but I think it might be my favorite house to play potentially. I just love their interactions and the things you can do, and John Smith's a beast. So here's a Logos Mars Untamed deck. Owe, the green subdome saucer right. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. Please subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications when I post. I'm going to be trying to do this very regularly. And you can follow me on Instagram at Boulevard Paper Fight, BLVD Paper Fight. And that's where you can reach me. Best way to send me direct messages or anything, I'm pretty active on that one. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Fight away with that paper.